Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take those insights and now we're going to deep dive in the form of a panel discussion. And this particular session will be spearheaded by Pushpa Bector herself. And to join her, let me also quickly invite our panelists on the stage. First up, if I could please invite Mr. Ritesh Mishra, Managing Director, Marks & Spencer, India, to please come on the stage. I'd like to further invite Shruti Malhotra, Group CEO, Quest Retail, The Body Shop, Kales, ABH, Avon. May I also please invite Harsh Bansal, co-founder, Unity Group and Vegas Mall. I'd like to now invite Sangeeta Prasad, Group CEO, Ranwal Group, and Rakshay Dhariwal, Managing Director, Passcode Hospitality Private Limited. You know, we are talking about the next frontier in retail, and we have the leaders themselves. Can we have a huge round of applause? Our very first panel. Let's bring the energy back in the air. And let me quickly hand over the proceedings to Pushpa Bector. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, thank you. Well, good afternoon. That's a truly power-packed panel. And the beauty is that we have an equal representation of developer and retailer fraternity. So I would love to understand, in keeping with the kind of theme that there is for Mapic, which is experiential shopping. The interesting part is that we went through something that was not so good, but we have emerged stronger. And I'm talking about, of course, the COVID waves and what happened to retail. We all had to shut shop for a while and recoup and really understand what is going to work in future. We had uncertain times, but we have researched back. But in all this, there are learnings. So I wanted to understand from you, Ritesh, what has been the key learning for you of these past 2 years?
Thank you, Pushpa. That's a very, should I say, a very important question for all of us as brands or retailers as well as developers to answer, actually. You know, my own experience of COVID was one where businesses which were resilient enough, businesses who had their eyes on their customers, businesses who were listening to their customers, survived the whole wave and the multiple waves that we got through. And I also believe that if you had done your homework right in terms of building up businesses for the long term and not worrying about some of these phases, of course it was uncertain, of course it was ambiguous as it was. None of us knew how and when will we all bounce back. But I'm glad that as retailers, as developers, we all found our strength and the customers responded. As you said, Pushpa, in your keynotes, customers did come back, and they came back like how? There was that pent-up demand which was, you know, addressed by various brands as well. For us at M&S, it was all about, you know, talking to the customers even when they were not visiting us. And I think data and technology helps do a lot of that. We were constantly in touch with the customers because of our loyalty base, our CRM programs. For once, we're not talking about the season launches, but we're talking about how they are doing. And I think this empathy that you build not only with your, I'm sure all of us sort of built it up with our colleagues and employees. This part, if you build up with your customers, they do bounce back. So much so that our loyalty contribution to the business actually soared up after the COVID. So a period for us to demonstrate resilience, a period for us to you know, show the strength of the brand, and also partners like we have here have helped us come back as well. So yeah, those are the learnings from that specific period.
Yep. Shruti, you as a retailer, you know, the stores were shut for quite a while, but online also was continuing. So how did you see the online trend moving to offline, and what were the few efficiency issues that you faced, and how did you tackle them?
Thank you, Pushpa. Firstly, I must congratulate you for the 10-minute masterclass on retail that you just did. I mean, it was fantastic and so comprehensive, and I'm sure everybody learned a lot. So, you know, with COVID, which happened, and with the issues with COVID, I think one of the things that we experienced very quickly is the consumer is there. And it's how you reach out to the consumer. More than online, I think what really pivoted our business was our focus on our store teams. Retail is all about store teams. How do you keep them focused, energized, and really inspired was the key for us. If they are inspired, they would go to any lengths to do the business that is not there. So we realized very quickly that to give the staff its full salary and its full, how should I say, variable pay, from the day COVID happened and the stores were shut down, that was primary for us. What happened was that these store teams actually were back in their homes, in their call centers, making sure that they were delivering home deliveries to the customers. So more than online, I think our bigger channel, which was 3x of online, was home deliveries from retail stores. I think that's a phenomenal number, which we then will understand, it's something is coming to the consumer with the service of the store teams and with convenience of home delivery. I think that's something that retailers should all pick up. We all know that consumer is researching online. And it's that searchability, which is very important. With COVID, of course, the stores were shut down. But post-COVID, the consumer had evolved, matured considerably. And they were still searching online. I think the ability for brands, for malls, to change that consumer approach from window shopping in the malls to window shopping online became key for us. That online is a place for search and discoverability, not only of products, but also of shops to go to. So our investment in search for physical stores was key. Updating our Google My Business, updating the store numbers, updating store manager numbers on online, and making sure every locality, every region had geo-targeted digital performance marketing. I think those are the two things. So I would say online was always important because everybody was doing a great online business. What really helped us to get back to pre-COVID numbers immediately after the stores opened was our ability to keep our retail customers engaged, to recruit online and move them to the physical store. So I think those are the few things that worked.
Lovely. Rakshay, I think the food and beverage industry saw the maximum swing. It had, I know there were lots of people who kind of had to shut shop permanently, but you are one of those people who emerged stronger than ever before, with many new formats and doing extremely well. So can you share with the audience some of those learnings?
Yeah, so what I did was I actually took the time to understand why, okay, this is something very temporary, customers are there, why do they go out? They go out to have a good time, they will come back once this is all done. I took the time to expand my business. I saw, rentals come down across the board. I said, okay, I believe in what I do, double down. When the markets are low, buy. You shouldn't get scared, you shouldn't run away. I'm not in this, I knew I wasn't in this for, 2 years, 4 years, whatever. This is my career. So I thought, listen, double down, try to sign as many great properties as possible. And we opened up, some fantastic locations and at really, really beneficial rentals. So, that was one aspect that really helped us and which really has transformed, our company, at least financially, in the last couple of years. But also the trends of how consumers eat, that has changed a lot. People want something that's a little healthier today. They are focusing, less on the frivolities of dining out and more on, okay, is this actually really tasty, good, healthy food? So we've seen that shift. And you spoke about this earlier, about experiences. That has become the most important thing in, and that started off with delivery actually, where we would go and give playlists to people so that they could recreate that restaurant experience in their own home. Experiences are paramount today. And you touched upon the, India overtaking China soon. There's a very interesting tidbit. If you look at, you go abroad, you go shopping, you'll see lines of, Chinese waiting outside the Louis Vuittons, the Gucci's, the Pradas. However, that same person, if you're flying back with, you'll see them enter the aircraft, take a right, whereas the Indian consumer will enter the aircraft, take a left. So that is an interesting way to kind of sum up the differences between, India and China as each of our economies and retail businesses grow. Indians do care a lot about the experiences. And when you look at, chefs like Massimo Bottarua coming to the Hyatt
Yeah.
I'm forgetting
Absolutely.
which hotel, coming
Yeah.
to India, and people are spending 60,000 rupees on a
Yes.
meal, and it is sold out within 2 days.
Absolutely.
That is people spending on experiences.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Harshji, you have not just grown properties, you've started acquiring newer ones. Now we are entering into bridge to luxury spaces. What is giving you that confidence now for the next wave of retail growth? What was your experience earlier and what's growing now?
Good morning. So first of all, Pushpaji, congratulations. Your presentation was just like an editorial in the newspaper. So you can check everything in the market trend. So I will give you one example only. It's a very good sign of, you can say, retail coming as a big in India. Apple is opening a good store in Mumbai today. That's a very good sign. They did around 33,000 crore of business last year. 33,000 crore of business from their franchisee store. And you can imagine now when they will open their own store, and now manufacturing is coming to the India, and how big they will come back. The better part is that they are considering India as a serious market, and Tim Cook himself is coming and eating vada pav with Madhuri Dixit. And that gives a message that it's not opening store, it's a way they are considering as a big market. And the best part is that today he is coming to Delhi.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Delhi is now considered as at least second spot in the international market. That Delhi is equally important as Mumbai. And I'm sure next time some celebrity will come, they may prefer Delhi as a first, then to Mumbai. So these all are the very good sign. And now your basic question that after the COVID, what happens to the retail and why we are coming in a great way to the retail. Like there are findings of every, you can say, pandemic or every challenges. Like in the demonetization, plastic money was a big achievement. And now everybody is used to use the debit card or credit card while shopping. Before 2016, it was not so. People were using cash and check together. Similarly, after the COVID, experiential retail is now the new word we are all discussing. Look, everything has been changed now. You were talking about cinema, the occupancy is down. It is very true. The cinema occupancy is down. 30% of the stake goes to OTT. But if you notice, the way of viewing cinema is changed now. If you see the movie like the Bhola, it came to IMAX.
Yes.
This was the first Hindi movie which was IMAX friendly.
Right.
So people are now watching cinema if it's a normal cinema. But if it is a big movie like Bola, like Mera Bhai Meri Jaan, or maybe the RRR, the other movie, now people are coming to cinema, to malls, to see the bigger than life experience. Like the big screens are coming back. We have one screen in Vegas, which is the largest of the city, that is 22-meter wide. And whenever the new picture comes, our first show starts at 6:30 a.m. in the morning.
Wow.
So there's a great demand for such type of cinema where the experience is larger than life. Nobody is interested to watch movie on 8-meter wide screen because they are now viewing this cinema in their home theater. But you have to change your cinema experience. So the screens are big, you can say coming bigger, and the numbers are going down. In our new projects, we are bringing down the number of screens. So like in the Bridge to Luxury Mall, we are coming in NSP. We planned with 10 screens, but now we are coming with 6 screens only. We reduced 4 screens. And that was a very good addition, very good change. Because those 4 screens were converted into 8 restaurants. So imagine one screen is equal to 2 restaurants, 1 restaurant casual dining and 1 lounge.
Yes.
So I added 8 restaurants in terms of 4 screens. And the occupancy of the cinema will increase because of the number of seats availability.
Exactly.
But all the 6 cinema are now experiential. So one screen is 24-meter wide, 15 meters the height. So you can view the cinema in a different atmosphere. Also, we are coming with the hybrid cinema now. So hybrid cinema is the cinema where the two type of audience are, you can say, served together. Like the lower portion is for luxury cinema, and the upper portion is like balcony in the earlier days, is for premium cinema. And the screen is bigger. So people are now, you can say, want to see cinema in a big, different
In a different
experience.
manner.
Look at the menu of cinema now. The the SPH of cinema has increased from around 100 to 200 in 3-4 years.
That's the interesting part. We are seeing that the spend
Per
per
head.
consumer
Yeah.
has become very high, be it cinema, be it retail, wherever.
Absolutely.
However, maybe the number of consumers have reduced in cinema, but the spends are higher.
Absolutely. So you remember earlier days, we were going to cinema, there was only two things available, Pepsi and the popcorn. Now, then Nacho came, and now in Vegas, PVR is serving 84 cuisines in cinema. So you can imagine how big is this, you can say, spend.
Rakshay, that is a business you're missing out on.
No, he will
Food in
also
cinema.
expand, that nobody is missing out.
PVR is actually a F&B company.
It is. It
So
is.
the spend per head is 200 now, and the profit in the F&B is much higher than the cinema.
That's true.
So they have to pay 50% to the producer or distributor for cinema, but they have nothing to pay for their F&B, and it's the entire goes to their pocket. So you have to, can say, learn from these challenges. Okay, there is no point making 10 screen, 12 screen. Make good screens, make experiential screens. The screen should be large, the F&B component should be great, and the quality of projections, the quality of, you can say, sound, the quality of seats, everything has to change. Those were the days the cinema leg-to-leg distance was 1 meter. Now nobody is interested to sit in 1 meter.
Absolutely.
So in every category we have learned that lots of change happened. Look at the entertainment industry. The entertainment industry, 5 years back, it was only Fun City or these type of, where you can say kids, parents, everybody was sharing the same experience. It's not like that now. Now you have entertainment for toddlers, you have entertainment for teens, you have entertainment for adults, you have entertainment for youngsters, you have entertainment for different kind of people. Time zone has come, Game Palacio is coming, lots of Smash is there, and lots of new categories like the Laugh Club. We are operating in Vegas Mall. We have around, you can say, more than 5,000 people coming per week for the Laugh Club only. So these are the changes we are experiencing. And to the F&B, it's a very big change. People are loving now different type of cuisine. They love Mexican food. They love different type of food. Of course, they watch the calorie component also, that what calorie they are serving. But one more thing we have experienced that for F&B now, people are looking for, they don't want to go to the entire mall to go here and there to roam escalator to
want a
escalator.
zone.
Now they want dedicated lift lobbies where they are coming in the evening in the different attire, and they're straight going to cinema or going to, you can say, F&B. So in our new mall in NSP, we have created a special drop point, special elevator lobby, where like a hotel, we are, you can say, providing a hostess, and she will book a table for you online, and then she will guide you through a special elevator to your F&B comp.
Lovely, lovely.
Thank you very
so, Sangeeta, from a Mumbai point of view, things was quite drastic over there, and then it's researched back rather well. How do you see Mumbai, because now it's become with all NMACC and many other cultural elements that are happening in Mumbai, there's a change that one sees. How are you seeing retail performing in Mumbai?
So first of all, good afternoon to all of you. And Mr. Bansal, I've come all the way from Mumbai to Delhi. So Delhi has hope. You will see celebrities soon. So just to give you a perspective of how the Mumbai market, and I'm seeing that there's a lot of NCR buyers. So with all my fist, I'm representing Mumbai here. So what I'm seeing in Mumbai is, yes, you're right. Historically, Mumbai has been an entertainment city. So there is already a bias. The soil is for entertainment. And thanks to some of the powers that be, that's being taken up notches higher. But I'll just step back a little and talk about, since being a developer, uh, I think you and most of you will agree, we were caught unawares when COVID came. And before we went in and thought what we will do with the business, I think we reined in. I think the first step we said is, how do we survive? Because we don't know what's coming tomorrow. How do we keep our house in order? And I think that's a key learning before you step out and do something. Like, paying our colleagues, first you step in and see what is to be done to rein in. And once you rein in, then you can go out and do things for your retailers, for your consumers. I think the second thing which I would like to talk to all of us about is relationships. I think if those relationships were not nurtured by all of us, we would be in bad shape. So ladies and gentlemen, whatever you do, tech and everything, relationship is cardinal to existence and thriving. That's the second learning. I thought I'll share some learnings which I personally had. And the third one is, how do you use technology? And I think more and more of us are using technology. And then I will now come to Bombay. Mumbai is a resilient city. Mumbai goes back and steps up very, very well. And culture, heritage, entertainment are core to it. But I think what is happening, if you see the NMACC also, it's a lot about experience. It's a lot about the wow factor. It's a lot about what you bring in rather than the physicality of that event or the physicality of the space. And I think we all developers are understanding, but we need to step up to understand the physicality of the space is as good as the experientiality of the space. What are we giving? So I'll hark back to Times Square in New York. I remember some time back, they were finding it difficult to get footfalls, getting people to come in. And what they brought in was a curator. So I believe as developers, we need curators. And that's how do you curate experiences? Because from food and beverage now, Rakshay, it's getting into FECs in a big way. How does gaming work? How do people at all demographics, we were talking about kids, adults, teens, how do you attract people who can then come into your space and experience something which is wow and yet unpredictable? Because human beings are losing attention like nobody's business. Because there's too much diversion happening around us. So how do you create these curated experiences? And I think Mumbai is warming up to that. Mumbai has a history of entertainment, and I'm sure Delhi is not far behind. I love Delhi as well. Thank you.
Well, Harshi, I must say this, that speaking for Delhi, all the international brands have first launched in Delhi and then gone to Bombay. Just putting the record straight. Over here. Okay, I wanted to understand, we all keep getting newer architects now, and we keep telling them, listen, why don't you make my space more experiential? So how are our store fit-outs becoming different? How is, I know the mall fit-outs are becoming different. We really talk at length about how do we create hostess desks, more engagements from a consumer point of view, more digitization from a consumer point of view, and really ease of navigation from a consumer point of view, and also adoption to technology. During the pandemic and beyond, one thing that's changed is the quick, seamless payment gateways. But beyond that, what is it that you are telling your architects to make store designs different and vibrant? I'd love to know that.
Yeah, I got my store fit-out expert there, Naveen. Hi, Naveen. But I'll answer it on his behalf. I think one of the key things that we are seeing in our stores is, we spoke briefly about this whole online and offline debate, and I guess all of us know that the market is so big that everybody can grow within this, the retail market. Digitalization is key, actually. Because everybody none of us are getting younger, right? So what's happening is the digital phase is also sort of catching up with average age of customers, and therefore they are wanting to have that experience in the stores. As far as specific to your question, what is it that you can make sure in terms of navigation that the customer finds what she's there looking for? I think you got to keep it very, very simple and very true to your brand. An M&S will be very different from a brand X, Y, or Z. And what we look at is to keep very, very simple, whether it is an element of self-checkout that we launched in some of our stores. You know, as Indians, sometimes we are very lazy, right? We want to give away our bags to the cashier and so that he can do all the work, and you don't want to really self-checkout. But what we observed, and I will back the Mumbai aspect here, we did it in some of our stores in Mumbai, and the number of transactions that went through the self-checkout phase was fantastic. Did COVID have a role to play in that? Probably. It was anyway happening, but I think this whole frictionless transaction did act as a steroid in the vein. So I think there were those elements. You want to make your stores look your brand. I don't think a brand should do anything different to look different, as long as you're making your customers understand and make your products absolutely clear. That's where the experience also counts. But yes, to your point, digitalization plays a pivotal role in making
Do
sure.
you also see, Ritesh, that the demographic base of your consumer has changed? Has it become younger over the years? Or?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the key challenges that we had as our brand was to make sure, when you look at our brand in the UK, a brand in UK targets a customer which is 2 decades older than us. India, as you all know, is a younger country, and we are after competition who are about decade actually younger than us. So what we are looking at is not just in terms of our products, in terms of our marketing. We, of course, want to stay true to our target customer, because that's the customer who's, filling in the tills, right? So, but also we want to experiment, we want to take risks, we want to fail somewhere, but we also want to make sure that we are, very, very aggressively catching up to the market. So, yeah, we are very obsessive about that customer engagement, and we want to make sure that the base of customers increase, whether it is younger, whether it is more fashionable, whether it is an older customer. Quite frankly, a customer is a customer wherever she shops with us.
Right. Thanks. Shriti, see, Body Shop connotes a lot to do with trust, and from a sustainability angle, it had on-point elements right from the beginning. Now, how are you seeing consumers behave towards the brand post the pandemic, and also the store fit-outs? What is it that you're doing differently to add on more experiences?
Yes, Pushpa, one of the things that you put in your presentation was the last point, which was purpose, right? And I think that is the defining aspect that we would all like to talk about. That customers look for purpose. They look beyond shopping. They look beyond immediate transactional needs. They look at brands which stand for something. And when you said profit, a business with profit, it's actually business with principles that consumers look out for. So as far as the Body Shop is concerned, it's a space that has been our DNA. But it has been a learning experience over the years for us to make an effort to help consumers understand a purpose-driven business. Post-COVID, that has changed completely. And consumers are the ones looking at purpose. So as far as consumers are concerned, they want brands that relate to their inner selves, that answer certain questions about being innately important and innately connected with their environment, are sourcing products in the right way, are helping communities with the business that they are doing, are providing them products with a traceability, are providing them education that helps them to buy ethically. And they also want spaces where they get inspired. I think that's when you talk about how a store design is influencing that. They are looking at spaces to get inspired. They are looking at spaces to get active. They are looking at spaces where they want to have conversations, and especially in beauty, believe me, there's so much of a consumer desire to learn more, their own need to understand what works for them. How does the beauty advisor help them? In fact, because it's such a personal product, how it affects their skin and their wellness and their body. So there's a lot of need for conversation. So if stores are able to inspire consumers with the kind of playability of the products, with discovery of products, not just a place to come and shop and pick up, if the stores have beauty advisors to be able to have conversations with the consumer, and lastly, is your store answering the need of the consumer to have the right kind of balance between business and profit, business and community? So, you know, our products, for example, our stores are made of 95% reclaimed elements. We are made from crates, and we are made from cardboards, and we're made from recycled plastics. All our bottles are recycled from plastics coming from the waste picking heap of Bangalore, going back to UK, being made into products and shipping back again. And all these things really matter to the consumer. So they are looking at brands which answer to them, their needs for making sure they're making the right choices, and also how important is the brand when it comes to connecting with the local community. So are your stores speaking vernacular? Are they able to communicate vernacular? Are your stores reflecting the local culture? So in our stores, for example, in Indore, we do Gond art. In our stores in Chandigarh, we do rock garden, celebration. Consumers want to see how global brands are connecting with the local.
Absolutely.
So I think those are the
totally
things.
agreed. Raksha, in the F&B space, it's all about space to find your own community, your hangout, as well as a space of self-expression. Today, it's all about getting that Instagram moment. So how do you constantly change your stores, the menus, etc., to keep up with that?
It's, this is a very important aspect when it comes to success in F&B. Other colleagues of mine have done full restaurants based around it being Instagrammable. It is very important today with the, everyone on Instagram to, provide, people want to show off at the end of the day.
Yeah.
When they're coming out, they want to take a picture, put it on their social media, and have, get the likes, and be at the kind of places that are, desirable to be at, for instance. So, it's extremely important to build that into your, starting with, when you brief your architect, tell them, I want 3, 4, Instagrammable
spots.
areas. Yeah. So that's something easy that we do. I am not the biggest, biggest fan of creating the entire thing is Instagrammable, but definitely have a few sections there, and you can do it very well with little touches. So a lot of venues that we operate are nighttime venues.
Yes.
They become extremely dark. How do you expect people to take pictures? So little things, we put fun, quirky sayings on our plates. So you just have to think outside of the box, and you might not be able to achieve, at the end of the day, having something Instagrammable shouldn't take away from the vibe that you're trying to create.
Exactly. My question is also that some of the spaces, without naming, I see is purely to do with the vibe creation and not with the product. So the authenticity of food is kind of getting lost somewhere with this vibe creation. How do you balance it out? And it's important because these restaurants do very well for 6 months and then they crash down.
Exactly. The most important thing is to understand what it is that you're selling. Okay, if you're selling Indian food, then put interesting things on the wall that relate back to your cuisine. And we do this in all our restaurants. If you're selling, Pan-Asian cuisine, have things that are Instagrammable, but that relate back to your cuisine. Everything has to be focused at, okay, this is my product at the end of the day. My food and beverage is my product.
Right.
Now, how can the rest of the elements add to my product? They should not subtract, should not detract, should not, you shouldn't look at that and get transported to a completely different zone altogether.
Yeah.
No, it shouldn't be distracting. It should, be complementing.
Absolutely. So, Harshi, I would like to understand from you, ki, going forward, how are you, what are the different things that you're doing from an architectural point of view as a developer that you think will make it more flexible for you?
Yes. So there are many changes, Pushpaji, we are considering now, like the new mall we are coming in NSP. Now we are focusing all the stores should be experiential center, not just a vanilla store. So what we did to make them experience center, first of all, we increased the height of the store. So now our new mall is 5.3-meter high, floor to floor. It's a good height, but it's not only for ground floor. It will go till the last floor. So all the floors are, you can say, 17.5 feet high. That will give you a good VM space. So I'm giving around 4-meter high glass, which gives a good VM space. And believe me, it's not, you can say, spending a lot. It's by adding 10% of the
Yes.
construction cost, you can
You
make
can
experience
create
differently.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
And sometimes it's save money also. Like the staircases, now all the staircases are fitting in a half space. If you increase the height, you can say legs of the staircase that fits in small space. Secondly, we have removed all the doors now. So after COVID, nobody wants to touch the handle. COVID gone, but still people are, you can say, the basic hygiene is that nobody wants to touch the handle and to open the door. It's all the stores are, you can say, seamless experience. You can walk in, you can come out, and you can say the height is good, the placement of the furniture is good, the width, the frontage is increased. Instead of having 100 stores, let us make 75. But each one should have a good facade, good height to facade ratio. And now people are focusing, you can say, not putting off 10 t-shirts in one rack. Let, let them put 6 t-shirts or 4 t-shirts or maybe 2. But everyone should stand out itself. And those were the days that you can say merchandise was falling down from the racks. Now people are looking for, you can say, good merchandise placed nicely, good experiential center. We are focusing all the stores, all the brands to put digital element also. Like I was discussing with my friend in the morning, Indian Western wear brand, that why not you can say, shoot your own fashion show. The people are coming to the store. Instead of putting to the dummy or mannequins, you should, all the merchandise should be in a fashion show, and those merchandise should be available in the store. So when customer is entering, and she can see the fashion show, and she can relate herself into the then role model. And then till the time she pays, you can say, bill, in the back side of the cashier, the same show should run, unless until she turns back. So changing a lot of, you can say, experiences. We are giving more space to athleisure now. Everyone is aware that athleisure is, you can say, people are now very happy with the sports shoes in the events and t-shirts in the office. So athleisure have increased a lot. All the athleisure categories is almost double now. So the category which are bringing back, we are increasing them. So the malls are making flexible. So tomorrow something changes come, the mall should be flexible to accommodate these type of changes.
Right.
Thank you.
So, Sangeeta, what is it that you feel that you can really value add from a developer point of view going forward?
I'll just add to Mr. Bansal's point, a couple of things which we are looking at when we are designing our new malls, and our friends are also here who are helping us to design it, is one, breakout spaces. That's become very relevant because people, and you don't have to have centralized breakouts. One is the
Yeah.
centralized large space
need
where the
larger.
people break out. Those nooks and crannies, how do you make them interesting, invigorating, so that people can go and spend time there? And I'm not saying lose money. I'm saying you can make breakout spaces lucrative as well.
Of course.
So that's one. The second thing which we are looking out are, apart from the conventional events, the gaming spaces. I think today people just want to enjoy, and cinema is just not the only entertainment, and I come from that city. So how do you create those gaming spaces? I totally agree with him. What should be the height of those spaces? How do you make spaces look expansive? Third, very important, how does my mall look more inviting? So when I enter, do I get a feel of the place? Sometimes what happens when we try to put in too many, you will be knowing the proportion of anchors and
course.
inline. It's
Oh, yeah.
always a dilemma. So how do you may lose the proportion a little, but are you having the big picture? So that when people come in, they don't feel caged and cribbed cribbed, because they're coming out of their homes to enjoy expansive spaces, and that gives the experiential value. And of course, talking to your retailer friends, having some dignity, while they have their diverse brand logos and their brand spaces, is there a dignity of a common space? Is there something, an underlying theme your mall is following, which all adds to what I call is the experience? I think once we do all the physicality of it and we create these curated spaces, experience through various events, programs, and my earlier thought of curating unpredictable events makes a mall. Because please believe there is a trend which is happening of high street shopping going high. Many of
Yes,
you would
absolutely.
be facing that. So what do I have to offer as a mall developer over a high street outlet which has supposedly more merchandise, dedicated merchandise, whereas I am like a multi-brand outlet. A mall is, after all, a multi-category outlet. So these are the differentiators which we all are looking at, which can make our mall an inviting and welcoming place for us to go and spend time and shop as well.
Right, thank you. So, Sangeeta, I've been given an indication that I have to quickly conclude. So, one last question, 1 minute each. How are you looking at retail in the country over the next 5-6 years? What's your take?
Buyers have to buy and retailers have to innovate. And there is no limit to it. I think it's a very, very redeeming space. India, I think we spoke about the maturity of the economy. I think the economy is still too mature. It is still, I know we don't like the word developing. I may say a nurturing market. A large part of India is not in the metros. Just let us wait and see how those non-metros will convert into metros as technology and communication happens. We are all on a level playing field, and India has insatiable appetite to consume. So we as marketers have to understand and become smarter than what we are today.
Right. So, Haji, your 1 minute on the future for India.
I will say that in your presentation said by 2030 we will be the 5th largest. I'm expecting it will be much before. So maybe 1 year, 2 years before, and by 2030 maybe we may be 4th or 3rd. So it's a huge market.
Great.
Thank you.
Rakshay, what do you think?
So, you actually see some really, really good brands. Most of them just start off online and then eventually look at the brick and mortar aspect of things. I think, with the emergence of all these great brands, we're going to have a really great retail ecosystem. Once, they get the funding that they require to go into, brick and mortar aspects of retail, I think we'll be in, because there's some really phenomenal brands coming out, and I get them on like Instagram ads
Of
right
course,
now.
of
But
course.
when they move into, physical locations, the whole landscape is really going to erupt, I think.
Yeah. Great. So, Shriti?
I think 50% of India is below 25 years. I think that's going to drive the future of retail. The way Gen Z is, the way Gen Z thinks, the way Gen Z communicates, it's very important for us as marketers to look at Gen Z as our future while we continue to keep generational audiences in our core. But the way we all work towards that 50% of the population, which every brand in the world is looking towards, and that's why India is so attractive to them, is that future consumers. So I think focus on Gen Z and what matters to them would be very important for the next level of retail.
Totally agree.
So, in my point of view, I quite like what's written over here. I don't think we've got to worry too much about the 5 years or the 10 years. It's now which is the future. And I think, a lot of brands actually look at scale, profits, P&L and balance sheets. I think the future is all about staying away from all of that and obsessing about the customer that you're engaged with, whether you're a retailer or you're a brand. When you say customer at the heart of everything you do, I think that's the statement that as a retailer or as a developer you've got to look at, and that's the future. And I do believe now is the future. You don't have to worry about 5 years from now.
That's lovely. So on that note, I think we can end the inaugural session. The summary is very clear. The future is now. Look at Gen Z. be flexible in one's thought, innovate, innovate, innovate. Thank you.